Few conspiracy beliefs are as strongly embraced and have lasted as long as those surrounding the moon landings. The basics of the theory are that NASA, pressured to beat the Soviets in the space race, created a lunar film set in the middle of the desert where they filmed a fake landing. But why do people believe so strongly in this theory? These are the 10 reasons why people think the moon landings were fake. Perhaps the most mentioned evidence of a hoax is the waving of the American flag on the moon. The moon has no atmosphere, so the flag cannot be blown by wind. In fact, the flag is only seen waving while the astronauts are handling it, including unfurling it from its storage tube and screwing the flagpole into the ground. As soon as the astronauts step away, it holds impossibly still, just as you would expect from a place without atmosphere. If there's only one source of light, that being the sun, then all shadows should be parallel to one another. However, it is obvious that shadows in some pictures are going in multiple directions, as if there were multiple sources of light. That's because there were multiple sources of light. Just as the moon reflects light onto the earth reflects light onto the moon. And since the earth is much bigger than the moon, it reflects a lot more light. Variations in the terrain can also distort shadows, and this has been demonstrated. Distortion from the use of wide-angle lenses has also been given as an explanation. Even when we look through the Earth's atmosphere, we can see stars, yet the background of lunar photographs are black, as if a background painting. It's been suggested that NASA did not think it possible to recreate the correct alignment of stars, and therefore left them out entirely. It's not certain why conspiracists think NASA couldn't recreate an accurate representation of the star field, knowing space is kind of their job. Moreover, those photos were taken during lunar daytime. The direct light of the sun and the indirect light reflecting off of the moon and Earth washes out the stars. Astronauts were using very high-speed film to take their photographs, which would not pick up the weak light of the stars. When the lunar lander touched down, it should have expelled a large amount of gas, which would have greatly disturbed the dusty lunar soil. Yet in photographs, the lander is sitting on a flat plane. This claim is based on an assumption of how the vehicle landed. They did use decelerating rockets during the descent, but those were throttled back as they neared the landing point. In addition, it landed in an area which is mostly rock. There was very little material to disperse. In contrast, when the lander lifts off, it does create a cloud of dust, because much more thrust was needed to launch the vehicle into space. When the lander takes off, there is very little flame, and certainly not the trail of flame we expect from something going into space. In fact, the chemicals used in the lander rockets produce very little flame. Also, flame is commonly produced in contact with oxygen, which is absent on the moon. Buzz Aldrin took a photo of his boot making a pristine boot print in the lunar dust. Believers put forth that dry dust cannot hold such a distinct impression. Instead, it suggested the boot print was made in wet sand. The ability to hold a shape is in part dictated by the fineness of the material. Moon dust brought back to Earth has been used to demonstrate that it most certainly can hold a boot print. Moreover, you can get similar results with volcanic ash. It's all about how fine the particles are. Finer material can hold more detailed imprints. You also have to wonder why NASA would fake the boot print in the first place. Since no one's been to the moon, surely it would have been easier just to claim that the lunar surface was similar to that of a desert on Earth. Several photographs have identical backgrounds, despite claims that they were taken miles apart, encouraging the accusations that they are simply backdrops. The explanation is that the mountains in the background are actually many miles away, so a lot of the movement would be necessary to see a significant shift in their position. The same illusion can be seen in the mountainous areas on Earth. The reason that they look much closer is that there's no atmosphere to create a haze over distant objects, nor are there other landmarks to help the brain judge distance. The Van Allen belt is a radiation field surrounding the Earth. Conspiracists insist the astronauts would have been killed going through the belt on the way to the moon. Dr. Van Allen himself has said the belt would not be harmful to astronauts who were immersed within it for only a brief time and who were protected by a spacecraft. There's a picture of a moon rock with a C on the side of it. It's been suggested this mark was a prop label and the item was placed facing the wrong direction. An easier explanation is that there's simply a fiber on the lens. Also, people who film props don't write labels on them for this very reason. There's an image of Aldrin in which you can see Neil Armstrong reflected in Aldrin's visor, yet Armstrong isn't holding a camera to his face, suggesting that there were other photographers present. But actually, cameras were mounted to the astronaut's chest. It's even visible on Aldrin. For more top lists just like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to check out our other lists. And thanks for watching, and thanks for learning.